Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my I3 webinar for Cycle 2 covering formative. I hope everybody's had a great day, and I sure do appreciate you guys hopping on our YouTube channel to watch this webinar. Hopefully you learned something great that you can take back with you to your classroom. My name is Christine C. Paul, and I will be your presenter today for formative. My partner's name is Crystal Shepard. She works at Webb Middle School as the librarian, and she will be the chat moderator. So if you have any questions, hop on the chat, ask her, and she'll help you as much as possible. And of course, I'm also available too for questions, and I'll give you our emails and Twitter handles at the end for some extra help if you need that. And here it is right now, but I'll give it to you again at the end. The topic today we are going to cover, again, is formative. This webinar will aid us in instructing 21st century learners and move towards a modern digital age of classwork and learning. Formative is an assessment tool where students can type, draw, or submit images to demonstrate their understanding. It also helps teachers to get students more engaged and excited about their work. Teachers can view all classwork on their iPad or Chromebook's mobile device instead of dealing with a bunch of paper. For Cycle 2, the focus is formative assessments. Formative aligns with ISTE Standard 1, being an empowered learner. Empowered learners mean students take an active role in choosing, achieving, and demonstrating learning goals. So I'm going to show you 10 reasons why teachers use Go Formative. So let me pull that up for you. All right, 10 reasons why teachers use Go Formative by Craig Jones. Number 10, you are omnipresent. You always know what's going on in your class. Number 9, never deal with another copying machine. Number 8, do something if you're not happy with everything being multiple choice. Number 7, give feedback and grade while students are in class, not when it's too late. Number 6, go paperless and gain efficiency, unless pencil and paper is the best way. It is simple to use and students are engaged. Stop spending your nights and weekends falling behind. Use tech to transform your classroom, not just to play games. Watch your students show their work while you gain instant classroom insights. And make interventions the minute they matter the most. All right, so now I'm going to show you exactly how to use Go Formative. Give me 1 second. All right, formative. You'll have to excuse me, I'm sick. Your new go-to tool for student growth. All right, so the first thing you'll do is you'll go to goformative.com and click on Join Code. And there's a little arrow, it'll be at the top. This is what your students will do, actually. And they'll enter an assignment code that you will provide for them, which is generated much like Kahoot, if you've used Kahoot, where they will generate random codes for your class to sign in and participate. This is the same thing. So I'll show you 3 questions on this presentation. Formative teaching, quickly identifying what students know and intervening so they can learn more. That's the difference with formative. It's not just showing what they know. You actually get to intervene as the teacher, which is the best part about all of this. You get to quickly inform your teaching, adjust your teaching approach based on student progress, effectively pace lessons, and group students on the fly. So this image in the middle is an example of what, if we did have 3 questions, what the results would look like on the teacher end. So just a quick glance at this, I can see that everybody did well on question 1. Question 2 is where we need to go back over something because only 14% of students got that. And question 3, the majority of students got that, so we're probably good there. But I do like that you can just quickly look at your information and see that's a troubled area. And then you can see obviously your strengths as well. A teacher said, just by looking at the images, I could see whether they're getting the gist of the poem. So here's an example of something we'll learn how to do later. But the students, like I said, it might not, multiple choice might not be how you want to assess them. So they can do things like this, which is draw an image. And it says on here, what would I call these lily pad flowers? And then they drew all the flowers. Give every student immediate feedback, give instant written feedback that furthers student learning, and set an answer key for auto scoring, and it gives scores back instantly, which is great. So you can just go ahead and set in the key, the students take your assessment, and it's instantly graded, unless it's something, of course, like on this last slide, where it's a picture that you, the teacher, will actually need to look at and evaluate yourself for comprehension. But it's really, really nice to have that instant grading. A teacher said, I can instantly see what you're needing to improve on and let you improve on it. So that on the care meter now, it's higher. Now it's instant. Now you can change it. So this would be an example of another type of response a student can give. They can plot on a graph, and the teacher, that gray box right there, would be the teacher's instant feedback. So the student could be in the process of writing this. They could be, plotting this. They could be just newly submitting it. And the teacher can pop right in and say, great work plotting those points and forming a line. Can you label the coordinates too? And if you can see at the top, next to the student's name, this question was worth 1 point, but the teacher gave the student 0.9 out of 1 point. So the student can see, okay, well, if I could just label these coordinates, then I can get full credit. Make sure every voice is heard. Project live responses with or without names, which is really great because a lot of times students hold back from participating in class because they're shy or they're embarrassed or they're afraid to be wrong. So this way, you can show a display on your end of all the different results and all the different answers from the class, but you can take out the names completely. So the class can just see an overview of answers, and that way you can generate class discussions based on that work and talk about something that was a great example or something that needed some help, or this person didn't get it right, they could have done this better, and the student doesn't feel outed or embarrassed. It is engaging for students, letting them explain their work or the work of a peer. A teacher said, I was able to see and praise responses from my students who never raised their hand. Improve your instructional planning. Determine what standards you need to reteach or focus on in small group instruction, and determine what each student needs support with. Inform collaborative planning, grade teams, co-teachers, IEPs, etc. So if you look at this image over here, it shows the students' names, the overall class grade, which was 73, and the great part is this top part where the mouse was a minute ago are all standards. Now, obviously, those aren't the TEKs at the top there, but you will have the ability to tag the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills specific TEKs to all of your questions within an assignment. So that way, not only can you see what questions they were missing, but you could also view it by which standards the students were struggling with. So that's really cool too, as far as, data goes for, looking, figuring out what you need to do. Sign up at goformative.com. So you'll go to this page at goformative.com. And by the way, this tool is also searchable by Go Formative. It's technically called Formative, but it's very easy to search by Go Formative as well. So you'll go to goformative.com and you will either sign up as a teacher or a student. And you can see that it has a Google sign-in. So we just used I just used my @garlandisd.net teacher sign-in, and it's totally free. So you can create accounts or you can sign in with Clever, or you don't have to create an account as a student. So like Kahoot, for example, you don't have to have student accounts to participate with Kahoot. It's the same thing with Go Formative. So that's an option that you'll have to decide between. So as the teacher, to create a new formative, the first thing you'll do when you log in, and for the first time, you'll click out of the welcome message and you'll click on plus new formative, which is circled in red right there. And then you will write a title for your formative or your assignment. And then you'll add a question or piece of content. So you have a lot of choices here. In the red right there, you can embed images, videos, you can put up a whiteboard or a text block. You can add questions like multiple choice, multiple selection, short answer, essay, show your work, or true and false, or you can upload a document that you already have, like a PDF. There is advanced options, but you have to upgrade your account, which is the only aspect of this tool that is not free. So if you want the students to be able to give you an audio response, a graph, resequence, or categorize, that would be an upgrade. But I have not needed that, especially because I'm not a math teacher, so I don't need the graphing component. I think you guys will do just fine with the questions that are free, or the question formats that are free for you to use. But that is an option. So here's an example of adding a question, a short answer question. At the very left, if you see the part that says move the question with a line, there are 4 little lines next to the number 1. And that is so if you decide you don't want this to be the first question after all, you would just click and then drag it to the number that you would prefer it to be. So if you'd rather this be question 3, you can just click and drag it. You can change the question type. So that's just a drop-down menu, kind of like what we were talking about before. This question is short answer, but you could also do multiple choice, essay, true or false, any of those options. Then you'll actually type the question there and add a correct answer. And that is how you set up your auto grading, which will make your life so easy. And then you can select standards to tag to a question. And that's where you'll select TEKS, and then you'll choose your subject, and you can tag all of your questions once again to have that data more helpful for you. You can copy the question over there on the right by clicking that middle icon. If there's a question that's basically the same, you just need to switch out maybe a few words. You can delete the question completely, and then you can change the number of points for each question there. That's that first icon on the right. So if you think maybe a short answer question should be worth more because it's not true or false, so they don't have a 50-50 shot of getting it right, the short answer question, maybe you want to make that 10 points or 5 points, and maybe a true or false question, 2 points. So that's totally up to you as the teacher. Or you can make them all even. It's up to you. Example of adding content. So you can add an embed code and provide students with access to external learning tools, like Edpuzzle, for example. You can transform any PDF or document. So that's circled there in yellow. And you would just choose the file and upload it. And I'll show you how you can tag questions. So this is an example of a PDF that has been uploaded, and the teacher wanted to add questions to that PDF. So if you look, they clicked anywhere to add a question on the document, and they put question 1 on the top left and question 2 on the middle of the right. So those questions can be seen on the right that they created. And the first one that says short answer, this is an incomplete recipe. What ingredients do you need to add to complete it? And they tagged a standard. For these questions, I would not, for short answer, I would not add a correct answer because it has to identically match what you type in as the correct answer. So if a student put, this recipe needs witch's potion, and the student, or the answer is witch's potion, and the student put the witch's potion, it would count it wrong because they wrote the. So for short answer, I would just grade it yourself by looking over it, because that's not really something that's easily auto-graded. But for true or false, or multiple choice, or multiple selection, all of those are instantly graded for you. So to preview a formative, if you are adding these questions, for example, and you're like, I don't know if this looks right, you can just go to the very top, and there is a bar with 3 options. One says edit, one says preview, and one says view responses. If you can see in this situation, the preview is highlighted in blue. So we are looking at what the students would be looking at. So this looks right to me. But if you, the teacher, think, oh, that's not what I meant for it to look back, you can just simply toggle back to the edit tab and, you know, fix whatever you need to fix. Or if you would like to see the students answering live, you can click on view responses, and as they answer, those responses will be popping up like before your eyes so you can see exactly what they're doing. So to assign the formative, let's say you've created it, you're happy with it, you've previewed it, and you're good to assign it. You will click on Assign to give a formative to guests or classes you've created. If you assign to guests, you can give them the quick code to enter. So this on the right over here is an example of a code that would be generated, like Kahoot, what we were talking about earlier. And you would just make sure on the left here at the bottom where it says Awesome Formative, you would assign to and you would highlight guest students, or you would click on guest students. You also have other options. This is just another great feature of this tool. You can return scores, you can return correct answers, and you can enable edits after final submission, which I really like that feature because that means students can actually go back and correct digitally what they needed to. So you could leave them feedback like we were talking about earlier. They can read that feedback. For example, with the plot example where they had graphed the line but they didn't give the coordinates earlier, they can see that note and they can actually, and you can enable edits and you can allow them to fix that for full credit for that question. So view and act on responses. You can click on view responses to view live results, and you can always come back later. You don't have to look at it as it's happening, but it is cool that you can do that. So let's look at Jon Snow, Arya Stark, and Brienne Tarth's answers. If I'm looking at this quickly, I can see that Jon Snow's answer is different. Arya Stark showed her work, Brienne Tarth showed her work. Arya and Brienne both got 162, which is the right answer, but John, little John, got 92. So if I wanted to put this on display for the class, I could click Hide Names, which if you look at the top left, it says Hide Names, and you click that, and then those names will disappear, and the class can simply look at and evaluate everybody's work and look for themes and look for mistakes and look for great examples. So I think that's really cool. You can also filter responses by class, navigate to responses for each question. So if you look, we're only on question 1, but you could click 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 to toggle back and forth. And then you can click on responses to score and give instant written feedback. There is an export option, but you are limited to the amount of exports that you can actually generate each month since we do have a free account. So I would just use that sparingly. Create a class. If your students are in classes you've created, you have more options to control what they can do with a formative. You can reset their passwords and they can access formatives from their dashboards. So the really cool thing is a lot of us use Google Classroom, and the easiest thing you can do on here is just import your classes from Google Classroom and it's already set up for you. So that's really, really neat and super easy for you and for really any of us who use this. Or you can get students to create accounts or create accounts for them so they can join the class. But like I said earlier, if you don't care for them to have accounts, then you can just generate that class code because you'll select guests and it's totally fine to use it without that. The students will just enter their name like they do on Kahoot, and you can use this tool just the same way. So resources, you can click on any of the Getting Started GIFs or Help Center community resources, or you can always start a conversation with us if you can't find what you're looking for. So this is really cool. Go Formative or Formative has a lot of help, a lot of guides online. So if you're having any trouble with this, of course you could reach out to Crystal or myself, or you can start a conversation with Formative, and you can just do a live chat on the spot, and you can say, hey, I'm struggling with creating a true or false question. Can you help me with that? And they'll respond. So it's really neat. And they have a whole network of all these formative educators that can help you as well. And then, of course, if you follow them on any of their social media accounts, you can see different ways the teachers are using formative in their classrooms. That can maybe inspire you and get your juices flowing. So I'm actually going to walk you through creating a formative together so we can just see what that would look like. And we are going to create one on Hunger Games. All right. Let me get that set up for you. Okay, so you would click on New Formative, and we are going to title it, first thing, the Hunger Games Quiz. All right, so now that I've titled it, I'm going to click my blue button here to add my first question, and I'm just going to make this multiple choice. So my question can be, what is this? Actually, let me add a picture. Let's delete that. I'm going to add an image. Let's add an image of Katniss. Now I can create a question for that. So we'll do a multiple choice question now. What is this character's alias? So I'm going to create my answer choices. Bluebird, Mockingjay, Eagle, Blue Jay. And of course, Mockingjay is the right answer, so I'm going to select that. And you can see right here, the key says Mockingjay. So we know that answer has been set. And then this is the select standards that I was talking about earlier, where you would go to Texas. I'm English Language Arts and Reading, so I'm going to click that, and I'm grade 7. So I can attach any of these standards that I would like to, but for now I'm going to skip that because we're just making a fun quiz about Hunger Games. For my next question, I'm going to do multiple selection. Which of the following are nicknames for Katniss? Catnip, Sweetheart, Girl on Fire. So Catnip, Sweetheart, Girl on Fire are all correct, and Princess is not. My next question, I'm going to do a short answer. And I'm going to ask my students to explain why Katniss volunteered as tribute. I'm not going to add a correct answer there because I'm going to read through those myself. Now I'll do true and false. Cinna was not only the stylist for Katniss, but he was also her friend. And that is true. Now, and this is my favorite feature, show your work. I'm going to ask the students to draw a picture of the weapon with which Katniss is most proficient. Now there's another way you can do show your work, and you can actually load an image, and I'll show you what I mean. So show your work, I'm going to edit the background and I'm going to add an image. There we go. I'm going to say done. And I would like for students to draw an arrow to what body part in a box is missing. All right, and I'm happy with that, so I'm going to preview it to be sure that everything looks like I want. Okay, looks good to me. So I'm going to say assign and guest students. So this would be the code that would be generated for the students. I can view responses here. Obviously, I don't have a class taking this test right now, but I can try and take it. So let me go to my own quiz and take my own quiz. And I'm going to purposely get some of these wrong so that you can see what the results look like. Okay, draw a weapon. All right, let's do that. Done. All right, and I'm going to draw an arrow. I'm going to change the color so it's more noticeable. I'm going to say done. So now I can view the responses. Of course, these are my responses, but I can see that this question was missed. It's wrong. I guess it didn't generate my other answers. It's probably because I'm doing it on my own preview. But this is what your, oh wait, never mind. I didn't click totals. That's the problem. So here's the totals. I got question 2 and 4 right, 3, 5, and 6. I don't know if I got right because the teacher, myself, would need to open those questions and grade them. She loved her sister. Yeah, I'll give myself credit for that. She was proficient with a bow and arrow, so I'll give myself credit for that as well. And then the A box is missing their tongue. So yay, I got 5 out of 6 questions right. So that's not bad. But if you saw this with the whole class, you could see quickly what questions are being missed the most. And there is that option right here to hide names. So that takes off my name. All right. So I'm going to end it here. I hope that you have learned something that you can take back with you, excuse me, to your classroom. Again, this is my name and my partner's name with our email and our Twitter handles. And then here are my resources that I got my presentation from. So this was the 10 reasons why teachers use Go Formative. This was the actual presentation. And then at the bottom here, this is a YouTube video of another teacher showing you, much like I did with Hunger Games, he used Star Wars for his example, but showing you how to use Formative. So if you'll have any questions, reach out to us. We would love to help you. And I hope that you guys have an awesome Tuesday.